Okay, let's see if this works. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun. Just bear with me one minute. 1 minute or 1 minute or I just want to make sure that I am live. Yes, I am. I am live. All right, welcome. So welcome to this training, right, on how to create consistent 10K months in your freedom lifestyle, right? Sorry, create a six-figure freedom lifestyle business doing what you love. So my aim today is to give you as much value as possible for you to implement straight away so that you can go ahead and start to create this. Now I've got my son's whiteboard here because I really like it. Right, and so, okay. Da, 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 da. Right, so in order to create a six-figure freedom lifestyle business that you love, right? And you wouldn't be here. Hey, someone's watching, say hi. You wouldn't be here, right? If that wasn't your desire, right? Create a six-figure freedom lifestyle business, right? Doing what you love. So the reason why this is so important is because the first one that I'm going to indicate to you here, right, is love. Ooh, is love, right? I haven't actually I'm not actually following the plan of what I write down. It's just so funny, right? So here's the thing, right? You've got lots of entrepreneurs and people in personal development that will teach you to find the gap, right? Understand your niche. Okay. And then you go and you do all of this work to try and figure out where the gap is, what people want, find your niche, and all of that. And that is perfect. There's nothing wrong with that. But the way that you think, right, doing what you love means that when you're looking to find the gap and find your niche, it takes you out of your heart space. Takes you out of your heart space. So the very first thing that you want to get really clear on is, what is it you love to co-create with others? Now, there's two phases to this, right? There's the exploration phase, and then there's the decided phase. Now, you can make tons and tons of money from both of these, right? So you don't have to necessarily bypass this to get to that, but you do need to make a decision about both of them. You do, right? So the very first thing that I wanted to talk about was that you must create it based on what you love, because otherwise you are just creating another job. You just are, right? You're just creating another job. You are doing the things that you think you need to do because excuse me, because it leads to this result, right? It's a very linear path, right? I do X, it leads to Y and Z. It's a very linear path. But that's not why you're here. You don't want the linear path. You want the most expansive potential, the path that's going to lead you to the result that you desire to create from a place of clean energy and from love, which leads me on to my very, very next point, right? Which is about embodiment. So embodiment, what the hell does that even mean, right? Embodiment. So here's the thing. Imagine you have, I don't know, imagine you have, I'm trying to think of something that demonstrates different states of consciousness. Imagine you're working, right, just as you are, in a six-figure job. You've got your six-figure job, right? You know what's required of you. And you do all of those tasks. And at the end of the month, you get paid a salary. Okay. That's how it works. Now, when you're moving to become a six-figure entrepreneur, you may not know what's required yet. Okay. You don't actually know what's required yet because you haven't done it, right? You haven't done it. And also, you're going to be in this mindset trying to figure out how to get here. And also, you were going to be attached to the sale, you're going to be attached to the statistics, you're going to be attached to all of the things that you have to do in order to create this. And that is the slower path, but not only that, it's the path that if you don't shift into this, you will always just get that. And so in order for you, so if you're here watching live, just give me a high five if this makes sense, right? If what I'm putting down, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, right? So in order for you to move into a six-figure entrepreneur, you have to embody that state of being. It's a state of being, right? It's a different state of consciousness. And from there, all of the things will show up for me, right? The right people, the right strategy, the right the right customers, right? The actions that you have to take, right? All of those things will show up for you, and then you just have to allow yourself to keep leaning into this rather than this. And here's the thing, right? When you embody this state of being, this happens so quickly. that it can be that it almost blows your mind because you're like, oh my God, that was so easy, right? So I may talk about homeostasis in the masterclass, but what you just need to pick up right now is that if you embody the state of being in alignment with what you love, in alignment with your desire, this, all of what's required will drop out from that. And then as you rest in that state of being, you will bypass a lot of the fear, the worry, and the doubt that comes with it. So embodiment is really, really important, and I highly, highly recommend that as honestly the first point of contact. Now, when I started, I didn't really know how to do that, and that was a different journey. But what helps you to embody this state of being as a six-figure entrepreneur and to know what's required, right, in doing what you love? This is number two. So maybe I'll just use a different color. I'm going to see if I can fit this all on here. I'm going to see if I can make this half an hour. Because sometimes I can talk for longer than that. All right, so you want to have some kind of idea of who you serve and what they want. And you need to be able to speak to them in the language, right, that combines what they want with what you are confident to deliver. This is so important, right? And there will be a little bit of gap here because you may not have done it before, right? But you will have experience and you will have results. So I'm not telling you to just go and try anything and be confident with anything. This is building on your natural gifts, your core skills, doing the things that you already have confidence with. And I have to be honest, some of the best results that showed up was because I knew I had that internal state of being, I had that passion within me, and I was like, I know I can do this. That is what you want. That's the confidence that you want, right? And so, most of us, when we are looking at this, we get into the business mindset of, oh my gosh, what does this person look like? Where do they live? How much money do they make? Right? We get into the niching of it, but we get into the niching of it from this mindset, right? And this mindset is typically you do X before you receive Y, and then you have Z, right? That is typically what happens. And this is what leads to, sorry, the window's a bit shiny. This is what leads to overthinking, procrastination, stress, burnout, all of those things, perfectionism, all of that stuff. Whereas when you are doing it from a state of being, it is a two-way flow. Okay. And you, because the energy is clean and you're confident with giving them what they want, right? When you're confident to give them, to lead them to what they want, that's when you'll receive the result. Okay, so those are the first two things that I am talking about. So I'm just going to refresh to see if there is any comments. So if you have any questions, then write them down now. And so just to tell you a little bit about me. So I was working in corporate for a good chunk of my life. I ended up, um, just give me a minute to think how I'm going to phrase this. So my father left before I was born, and I grew up with a very scarce mindset, with those stories of we're going to be homeless and just a lot of the scarcity stories. But there was a passion and a fire within me to do more and I had encouragement and support. Now, it wasn't in alignment with what I wanted to create, but it all served me. So I have a law degree and I have an accountancy qualification, and I ended up being the one, probably the highest income earner in my family and through some of my peers. Some of them, not all of them, some of them were on higher. Now, I was out on a salary that I never possibly could have even imagined back in the day. Well, this was like 7 years ago now. Okay. But even then, I got to a point where I didn't love it anymore. And I wasn't seeing my children. And yeah, I wasn't seeing my children. I was starting to wonder about what is the purpose of life. Like it just didn't make sense. So I received an inner voice, an inner calling that said, if you're staying here out of free. Cue spiritual awakening. And this is when I started to discover where my natural genius was and really delve into that. Now, I didn't know any of this when I started. I didn't, right? Now I do. Now I do, right? And so I had many dark nights of the soul that I moved through. And I now have a really amazing understanding of this work from a higher level, an even higher level than this. But I also understand how to create it for others. Okay. And alongside that, I have the skills that go with it, the marketing and the skills that go with it. And so I wanted to share that with you because this is really key, right? When you are clean in your energy, in what you're providing, in what you want, and also in the part that you're giving to the divine, when you show up and you participate in your part, and in the part that you're giving to the divine, it's really clean because then you are not trying to get anything from outside of you. You are flowing with that state of being that gives everything to you. Now, here's the really key thing is that is always happening anyway. So if you are not the six-figure entrepreneur, you are doing the six-figure job. And it's not an issue because you can do both at the same time, right? So you want to know who you're talking to and what they want from this state of being. Okay, so that is that. So I'm going to go on to my third and my last point. Hold on. It's going to rub that all out. Beautiful. Which is the structure. Now, like I said, I have done a ton of personal development, a ton of strategy, all of it. And here's something that is really true. Okay. You must do what you love, first of all. You must do what you love. You must have some idea of who you serve and what you want to create. So you're here because I know that what you want is a six-figure freedom lifestyle business doing what you love. That's very clear, right? So imagine you're working with, so you can do this as an intangible or as a tangible result. So intangible means the internal shift that happens within that shifts the tangible. That's the intangible result. And there are people that are doing that. And if you remember back, that would be around the exploration stage. Now, the other side of it is you can do the tangible. Most people buy what they want in the tangible. That's a decision for you to decide. And it really depends on your level of confidence. But imagine you are, I don't know, so I've seen someone who did, I think, what was it? I help women to get unstuck. That was it. That was all she wrote. She wrote, I help women to get unstuck. And she just closed, I think, $18,000 or pounds. I have no idea. I can't remember. Right. I don't have her name to hand. This was of another training that I watched. Okay. So, but She is communicating the who, woman, and she is communicating the what. They want help to get unstuck, right? It's an intangible result, but that is it. So her language and her marketing, it's all going to be around that. It is not going to be on what most people typically focus on, which is the process. Now, the reason why most of us focus on the process is because we're like, oh my gosh, I need to let them know what they need to do exactly in order to create the result. But that is not what they're looking for. Their minds are looking for what it is they want to create. And then as you bring them in, maybe you do a masterclass, right? Maybe you do a live, maybe you do a lead magnet, maybe you do a short content program that you can turn into one of the channels that feeds into your ecosystem. Then you can relate the process back to what it is they want, right? So you could have something along the lines of, so in order for you to get unstuck, right, and have clarity, the process would be to know what you don't want. Right? Know what you don't want. That could be a very first stepping stone for them to get clarity on what they want, right? And I mean, there's quite a few things you could talk about. You could talk about opening your heart. You could talk about what brings you the most joy. You could talk about what their limiting beliefs are, right? You can talk about so much of that in the process. But first of all, you have to know how to engage them. And there are many different ways to engage them. But what is the fastest way to engage them is knowing who and what they want to create with you. And so you have the confidence to be able to do that. Now, why this is really important is because I can create many different results with many different people. I just can, right? I've got a client, um, he texted me the other day with a result that is got nothing to do with this, right? Um, and I can market and sell on that, but it's not the thing that I love the most. This is what I love the most. This is what I love the most, right? When I see a client move from their current zone of working on someone else's terms to create a life that they want and actually have more than what they had in that state, that is what lights up my heart. And it's mostly women. It's mostly women. There's a few men in there, but there's a lot of women in there. Excuse me. And so when they are creating, right, it isn't just the lifestyle that they're getting with the external tangible result. With that, there's a whole load of stuff that comes out, right? They learn to love themselves, they're having more fun than ever before, right? They're playing with life, they're confident in their expertise and their genius zones. They live in bliss most of the time, they move through the creative tension, right? That is the part of it that I really love. But when it comes to what they want, that's all I have to do. And then it's a rinse and repeat process. Now, it doesn't take away from your creativity, and it doesn't take away from your truth, right? So a lot of people, when they start this, they just want to sell the process, and they want to do it in a truthful way to say like, oh my gosh, this is what is really required of you. And that is true. Like, you don't want to sell just to get the sale. And that's the whole reason why I was talking about embodiment and trust and love before that, right? You don't want to sell just to get the sale. You want it to be a really clean process where you're doing what you love. The person who comes into it gets the result, and you're all receiving, right? So it's a win-win-win for all of you. And then you have the structure and the stability and the inspiration, the intuition, and the flow to create it. And you want to create consistent months. The fastest way to create consistent months is to decide, do what you love, and embody that, and continue embodying that. You will be shown higher as you move through the steps. So, with all that being said, I do have an offer, which is to create a six-figure freedom lifestyle, doing what you love. And this is when I go in to the processes, right? So the state of embodiment doesn't happen from thinking. It doesn't happen even from just doing. And it doesn't happen from learning or even repetition, right? Repetition works and you need repetition, but repetition in a state of play is, I think it's 20 times faster, right? But also you need to know and you need to have practices and processes. Let's get my head straight on here, that bypass all of your current filters to allow that new state to come through. And that's a big part of what I do. And it is the fastest path. It is by far the fastest path, right? So you need to have those embodiment practices. Just going to wait for the helicopter to pass. You need to have embodiment practices. You have to know how to step into creation. And actually stepping into creation involves you to be completely still. I mean, not you might not be completely still, but it is a state of stillness, refreshness, and renewal. And then you choose your creation, and you have that, and you clear any limitations that come up. Because if you ignore it, it just cycles in the background. That's the very first thing. Now, the second thing that we do is I help you get really clear on your message and your who. I didn't think I'd be doing this. I'm really good at it, and I also really enjoy it. We help you get clear on your message and then help you create a structure where you can show up consistently. Now, taking action consistently without the focus and the alignment and doing what you love and all of that doesn't really lead to any results, to be fair, right? There's always got to be some kind of focus. So even though Bruce Lee took consistent action, right, with the 10,000 hour punch or whatever, he knew the focus of what he was doing. And actually, there's a video of him where he harnesses the energy of the divine, and I think he does like a 1 inch punch. And this guy just blows back right on the chair. It's fascinating. I love watching stuff like that. I don't know if you like me. I was watching Colin O'Brady the other day. So he's the guy who did, you can look him up, but he recently was talking about divine love and how he had this power source come within him because he set another world record for being the first solo explorer, I think, to cross the Arctic by himself in 45 days. I think that was exactly what it was. I have some idea, but I don't have the exact details. So the embodiment stage and connecting to your heart, those desires, is a huge piece of it. So that's the first one. The second one, I was just talking to you, it's about clearing your messaging, right? Getting you into that structure. And then the third one was really about you having consistent action steps to create a structure, a framework that allows that consistency to come through. So it's not about limiting your inspiration. It's not about limiting your creativity. It's not about limiting your personality. It's about having a structured framework that allows you to shine all of that, but in alignment for what your client wants, because it's about them. The marketing is about them. The process is where you do what you love that gives them that result. Okay. All right. So if you are getting this, or if you've got any questions, drop it into the comment. If you watch live, just do hashtag live. If you get on the replay, just do hashtag replay. If you're interested in the six-figure freedom offer, send me a message and I'll get you those details. I do have, yeah, I will get you those details and let me know if you have any questions, any more questions, and let me know how you go. Implement it. So here's the other thing, right? When you speak an intention, when you set an intention, when you share it in a community, you are actualizing that intention. I can't tell you how powerful that is. I think it was about 5 years ago, no, actually it was 7 years ago. I wrote down a list of intentions, thinking, oh, I don't really know if this is going to work. And I think it was about 4 or 5 of those things came true within the first few months. Actually, it didn't take very long at all. So when you actualize it, when you write it down, you not only that, you can see exactly what it is you're doing. So the other thing I want to talk about in the second part of the message of who it is, what it is you love to co-create together, is we're going to create an offer. Um, and I actually learned this from another coach. She's brilliant, by the way. So her name's Victoria Cruz. If you resonate with her, go look her up, right? And so I was inside her office that sell out. And so here's the thing, right? I've been working with offers for a few years, learning this information. Now, the offer structure and framework, and this was something that hit home a couple of years ago as well. The offer structure and framework is something we tend to have a mindset on, that we think that it is what that person wants to hear. And then we get into almost kind of like a state of people pleasing, or, like oh my gosh, I don't know what this person's thinking. I must get into their heads and know what they're thinking about. And then this is what they want to hear. And then that's when you put all these masks of expertise on, and you're just not being your raw, authentic, confident self. To if you switch it to, when I create this offer, it's for clarity for myself. So I know who I'm talking to, I know who I love to serve, and I know what I am confident to create the result with, co-create the result with. So that is the second part of the program that we will be doing together. All right, my loves. So much love to you. If you watch this live or on the replay, thank you. And I will be doing more of these inside of this group. I'm under half an hour. Amazing. All right, take care.